Alright, welcome. Let's take a look at Google Drawings. You're going to need to log in, and then you're going to go to the web browser and go to Google Drive. Log in as yourself in Google Drive. Your screen's going to look a little bit different, and then you're going to click File, More, Google Drawing. And then the first thing you need to do is name your drawing. I just put in Chaz Drawing 1, and then you're going to need to resize it. So you go to File and then Page Setup and then choose your size. I do square 10 by 10. You can do a different size if you want, but if you want to make sure it's good, just do square 10 by 10. Here's your undo and your redo button. And then here's where you select your line tool. We're going to be using the polyline tool. I'll show you that in a second. The arrow is the cursor, so you can move objects around the screen. Very useful. And here's the polyline tool. It allows you to make pretty much any two-dimensional shape, and you're basically, it's like connect the dots. So you're just connecting the dots to make a shape. The more dots, the more round the shape will be. The less dots, the more angular. The bucket is your fill tool, and the pencil is your line tool. So if you look at the shape there, it's filled with that peach color. I did use the bucket for that. If you go down to the bottom and you click custom on the bucket menu, you can change your colors. In the little mixing tray, you can change the shade and the transparency, which is what I'm doing right there. And that tells you what color you've selected, the little window up at the top left. Once you have it, just click OK. And then down at the bottom, you'll see your custom palette of all the colors that you mix. So you can go back and reselect them if you want. We're going to start by drawing a circle. So using the shape tool, just select circle. It's the first one there. And put a big circle right there in the middle. This is just for practice. And then you can align it both horizontally and vertically. You right click. I'm going to put another circle inside of it to make sort of a border. So you want just like sort of a little line border of yellow, and then we're going to go get a stock image. I'm choosing the LOL emoji. We're going to make a custom emoji with this video. And of course you'll be able to design your own design, but this is just a good practice to get used to Google Drawing. So what I'm going to do, I'm using the emoji image as sort of like a template to draw on top of. To zoom in, you're going to press, I believe it's Control plus. The buttons are different on my computer because I'm using a Mac. And then you just pick out a shape and start tracing over it with the polyline tool. If you make a mistake like that, just press the cursor button to get rid of it, and then go back to the polyline tool and start over. It's easier to draw shapes if you zoom in on them really far. So Control and the plus button is zoom, I believe. I will double check and let you know. So I'm making basically the eye. What I'm trying to do here is make a LOL pumpkin. That's my basic idea. Just a real simple thing to start off with. And you can see I'm stretching the eye into the shape that I want. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the shape, which Control C is copy when you have that shape selected. Control V is paste if you don't want to use the right click menu. Using keyboard shortcuts is a lot faster when you draw this way. And then you can flip horizontally and you can flip vertically. So that's how I made the copy of that shape. I used flip horizontal in the right click menu. And I'll slow all this down a little bit here. I'm trying to make this video not so long. So now I'm copying the tear by just tracing around it with the polyline tool. And then I'm selecting my color. I believe I go in and adjust this color later. And then I just bring that over there. And then I'm going to go and do the other tier, but what I could have done here, instead of grabbing that tier there, is I could have just made a copy of the one on the right and flip it horizontally. Whichever way, it's just a little faster if you do. If you copy your shapes, you don't have to draw as many shapes. It's a little bit faster. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing the little eyebrow, which is basically the same shape as the winking eye of the LOL emoji. So I'm just minimizing it a little bit and narrowing it, and then I make a copy and I flip that one over, and now I've got those two. So now I'm going to copy this pumpkin's mouth. So there it is. I sped that up a little bit. There's a lot more clicks with the polyline tool. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this bigger, and you're going to see that the mouth is over the tears, but I want it behind. So in the right click menu, when you right click on the object, you'll see a button that says order, and when you click on order you can say send backward, and you may have to do it a couple times because these are basically layered shapes, so you want to do it as many times as you need to get it behind the shape that you drew on top. You could also click on the tear. I could have also clicked on the tear there and clicked bring forward, and that would have worked as well. So now what I'm doing is I'm making the little reflections on the tear. So I just traced that, and then I made a copy, and I'm going to flip it over here, rotate horizontally to make a copy of that shape, and that's it. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what you can make. Come up with an idea and start your own emoji.